It started as an ordinary afternoon in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, until a simple meeting between U.S. Senator John Neely Kennedy and a 12-year-old girl turned into one of the most heart-stirring stories of the year. Cameras weren't rolling, and no press release was planned. What unfolded was something no one could have scripted, a moment that reminded everyone that genius, humility, and hope can coexist in the most unexpected places. The story began when Kennedy received a letter from a rural middle school principal in his home state. The letter spoke about a young girl named Emma Grace, a shy 7th grader with extraordinary intelligence, an IQ score of 163, several points higher than Albert Einstein's estimated 160. She wasn't just gifted in numbers and science, she was also a poet, a dreamer, and the daughter of a struggling single mother who worked 2 jobs to keep the lights on. Despite her brilliance, Emma's world was small, limited by poverty, poor resources, and the quiet weight of being different in a world that didn't know what to do with her light. Senator Kennedy, known for his folksy humor and compassion for education, decided to visit her school personally. "I wanted to meet the little girl who can outthink Einstein," he joked to his staff. But when he walked into that worn-out classroom with peeling paint and broken desks, the atmosphere changed. Sitting in the back, nervously clutching a notebook, was Emma, eyes full of curiosity and fear. When Kennedy approached her, she stood up and said softly, "Senator, I read your speech about education funding. I think I can help you fix it." The room fell silent. What followed was a conversation that moved everyone present. Emma began explaining how she developed a mathematical model to optimize public school budgets based on community needs, showing equations and algorithms that left even Kennedy's aides stunned. She spoke not from arrogance, but from a deep desire to make things better, to help other children like her have a chance. Kennedy listened intently, nodding, occasionally cracking a small smile. "Ma," he finally said, his voice trembling slightly, "you remind me why I got into public service in the first place." But the emotional peak came when Emma hesitated and said, "I just don't know if people will ever take me seriously. I'm just a kid, and we don't have much." Kennedy leaned forward and said something that would soon go viral. "Greater than you may be small, Ma, but your ideas are bigger than Washington. And I promise you, the world needs your mind, and your heart, more than ever." He kept that promise. Within 2 weeks, Kennedy arranged for Emma to meet with educators, innovators, and scientists from across the country. Her project caught national attention. Soon, she was invited to present her model at an education policy summit, where experts stood to applaud a child who had turned her struggles into solutions. But the story didn't end with fame. Emma used her platform to advocate for rural schools, launching a small nonprofit called the Bright Minds Project, aimed at providing advanced learning tools to children in low-income communities. Her mother, once worried about how to afford college, now stood beside her daughter as sponsors and universities reached out, offering scholarships and mentorship. As for Senator Kennedy, he often mentioned Emma in his speeches, calling her a reminder that brilliance can bloom anywhere, if we give it sunlight. The encounter left an imprint not just on the senator, but on everyone who heard it. It became more than a political story, it was a human one, about resilience, belief, and the power of being seen. For Emma, it was the moment she realized that her voice mattered. For Kennedy, it was proof that sometimes the best policy inspiration doesn't come from think tanks, it comes from the quiet genius of a child with a notebook and a dream. By the time the world learned about Emma Grace, millions were inspired. Parents encouraged their children to dream bigger, teachers renewed their passion for discovery, and communities across Louisiana rallied to support local schools. The story became a symbol, a beacon of what can happen when empathy meets opportunity. And as Kennedy later said in an interview, with a hint of emotion in his voice, "Greater than Einstein taught us to question everything. Emma reminded us to believe in everyone."